take a look at our next matchup. We got 3 Texas traveling to 10 Michigan. Only the second ever meeting all time between 2 of the winningest programs, which is crazy to think. You would have thought they'd met at least in one more bowl game throughout history. But as we know, Texas won the 2005 Rose Bowl, 38-37, led by Vince Young. But this is going to be awesome seeing the Longhorn helmet clash with the winged helmet from Michigan, an absolute classic and a dream come true for college football fans. So let's go ahead and get into this one. Michigan, you're probably going to win this game by a field goal or some weird 5 or 4 points differential. Texas, they can win this game by 3 or possibly maybe even 21 if your offense doesn't complement your defense for Michigan. Michigan's won 23 consecutive home games, which is their 3rd longest streak in school history since the late 60s, early 70s. But as we know, Texas walked into Bryant-Denny last year in Alabama with Saban still on the sidelines and ended that 21-game home win streak. Crazy, but that's how it is. But this should be a fun game. They've shown they can win, but it's strength versus strength. You don't normally always necessarily get that. You got Texas's offense versus that Michigan defense. Incredible litmus test for both these teams very early in the year. And then you have the question mark, kind of, the subplot. Texas's defense versus Michigan's offense. The run game is going to be tested for both teams, offensively and defensively. Tremendous in this game, which is great. But can that Michigan offense actually hold up a little bit? And Texas's defense, I believe, is a little bit better than people think. But Michigan's offense still has insane potential in that run game and could possibly blow you off the ball if the O-line is more cohesive this week, which hopefully they are. I know Sharon Moore said that it's going to take time, which it does with an offensive line. To get a great offensive line, it's not something that happens overnight. But the problem is you got Texas coming to town, so it's at least going to have to be something and better than last week. But for Michigan, take notes from Boston College. If you watch the Boston College-Florida State game, we saw Bill O'Brien have an absolute masterclass game plan coming into that game. They hold the ball. They had a 9-minute drive at one point, I believe, like a 13-play, 9-minute drive that ended up in a touchdown. You got to do that to Texas. You got to keep Quinn Ewers and those receivers on the sideline. You have to win the time of possession. That's how you win this game if you're Michigan, in my opinion. Time of possession and come out with points on those drives. Make drives come at a premium. Give Texas 4 drives in the first half. Do not allow them. You can't have a possession where you just go 3 and out quick, because that elite defense eventually probably will break. Even the best defenses can't last forever if their offense isn't helping them out with at least a first down. But you need long, sustained drives. Tick that clock as much as possible. I'm not worried about 3 because your kicker is absolutely elite, as we saw last week. He is insane. But defensively, when we look for Michigan, the wide receivers for Texas is probably the most underrated wide receiver room in the country, which I've been preaching since summer. Jonte Cook, Ryan Wingo, Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Silas Bolden, 2 incredible transfers coming in there. The sophomore Jonte Cook, like I said, sprung on the scene last week very well, and the Ryan Wingo, the star freshman. Dude, there's a lot there, so even with Will Johnson shutting down Isaiah Bond, you're going to have more. It's going to be tough. That's the big thing. Texas's offense really can be so potent in this game, especially with Sark on that sideline, man. Dude's like a kid on a playground drawing up plays. But the defense is still legit. That's the thing. You're a tackling machine, not allowing those tackles to be broken, especially in the secondary. Get them down. Texas is most likely going to get theirs, but just don't let them beat them. Don't let them beat you over the top. Don't allow those explosive plays, because that's hard for your offense to necessarily respond to, as we think of now. I mean, there could be something that happens where Michigan offense just comes out blazing. But I don't necessarily see that at the moment. With offensive line, the big thing is you got to hold strong. Cleo Mullings and Donovan Edwards, it's going to have the holes. You're going to have Thunder and Lightning. But to have Thunder and Lightning in this game, you're going to have the offensive line at least hold strong this game. Khalil Mullings, get those fighting yards, get the short yardage situations, grind those yards out, make Texas hate it that you're just coming at them over and over again, and he's getting 3 yards a carry, maybe 4-1. And then Donovan Edwards, I think you're going to have some of those plays like you had against Washington or Ohio State, one of those explosive runs that just kind of breaks a drive open. You can hear just everything flip in the stadium, the fans, you feel the air get sucked out from the Texas sideline. You're going to need at least 1 or 2 of those, I think, to be able to win this game. But that's really the main thing, man. The run game's got to work. You also have Colston Loveland, who caught half of your receptions last week. I believe they had completed 16 passes, and Colston Loveland caught 8 of them. But the thing is, if that's your only receiver threat, because your receivers didn't help you much last week, Texas can key on that pretty easily. Even, I believe he's the best tight end in the country, but the best tight end in the country is not going to have that great of a day if Texas just decides to completely focus on him if no one else can step up, because they're going to load the box and then just key him. Now, from the Texas perspective, I mean, it's really going to be about head coach quarterback combo, in my opinion. It's not much of a hot take. That's just kind of why I'm leaning Texas, like a lot of people are. You got Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian. It's really hard to doubt that, especially with their resume together. But the main thing is here, I think Texas can win both ways. I think Texas can win an ugly game, but they can also win a shootout. And I don't think Michigan can compete in a shootout. I think Michigan can only compete in one way, and Texas knows that, so it does play to their advantage. But the thing is, Michigan has the tools to win that one way if executed correctly. But that underrated wide receiver room, like I said, for Texas is a big problem, because I already talked about it with, if we're just keying Isaiah Bond, there's a whole load there to be able to take on that Quinn Ewers can distribute anywhere. He's even got tight ends that can make up for him. But the thing is, Texas utilized the outside to your advantage to be able to get vertical, horizontal, vertical. Texas can be able to win that even with how great Michigan's defense is. It's just going to be tough. But like I said, for Texas, you can load the box. See Colston, Loveland, it doesn't look like they have much of a pass game. I go after Warren and I sell out all day. I just do not care. I go after him and try to get him on the ground. That's going to be the thing. Make Warren beat you. That's about it, because I think they will be able to corral. If the Michigan offensive line looks like it did last week, it's going to be corralled. For Texas, finish your drives. Don't stall out in the red zone like you did a few times last year. 50.82%, I believe, 90th in the country in red zone conversion percentage for touchdowns. So that's got to be better, especially in a game like this where points may come at a premium. But if you finish in the end zone, I think you're set up well for success. I just see a slow start. Essentially, with this game, both teams kind of figuring each other out. It's going to be a little bit of a slugfest, but I do believe there's going to be separation in the second half. I think there's going to be a turnover that just sparks Texas, and then we're just going to see kind of a deflation from Michigan, and it just opens the game up. I have Texas winning 27-17. I could see it maybe even being 35-17 or like 31-10, but my official score prediction is 27-17. Michigan, I still respect that Michigan defense so much, but I just don't know if the Michigan offense can complement its defense enough to be able to compete in a game like this.